Hey there, it's Nikiana, and we are going to be looking today at a whole bunch of jelly prints that I have done over the past 2 years. This is not an exhaustive collection of the prints I've made, but I wanted to give kind of a sampling of the type of stuff that I've made and the failures and the surprising prints and everything in between. And hopefully talk a little bit in this episode about my jelly printing journey over the past 2 years, because this is something that I picked up doing 2 summers ago. Like probably many of us that are jelly printers and making videos on the internet, I kind of was attracted to the medium because I saw people making a whole bunch of the laser print transfers, and that kind of got me interested in jelly prints. And interestingly enough, very few of my prints are using that technique. I tend to prefer other techniques, and most of those other techniques that I have picked up from watching other jelly printers that are making videos on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all of the social platforms that have short and long form videos, like basically. So yeah, I got into it because of the internet, basically. And then I started making prints and I couldn't stop. And some of these might be looking a little bit familiar to you because they were the stencil prints that I did in the past 2 previous videos. Ooh, that one's actually a sticker. I got some labels the other day and started making prints with the labels. So yeah, basically I just find people's process videos to be so interesting. And even if it's not like a full-blown tutorial, I think it's just like a really valuable thing to be able to occasionally record what you're doing and be able to show people, because you really don't know who you're inspiring or who you're influencing, because the reality of social media is a lot of the times people passively watch things and sometimes they don't engage much beyond a like, and you'd never know that what you're doing and posting online is being influential to people. So I think in some ways my motivation with making these videos is to try and give back to that ecosystem a little bit and just show what I've been working on too, you know. And I'm trying to include the imperfect parts as well as the really fabulous parts, because for the most part, the jelly prints that I'm making are intended to possibly be part of collage type artwork. So I'm not necessarily looking for perfection, and just because a page just seems kind of blah or she has imperfections in it doesn't mean it's not going to be somehow useful down the line. For the most part, I'm just creating to create with these. There's really no end goal per se in mind. And now we're getting into some tissue paper, and I think some tracing paper, and a really ugly color combo that I really don't like, but I can probably change later to make it less bad. Because that's the thing too. Like, none of these are finished works. They're all just kind of starting points. Meant to be cut up, meant to be drawn over, meant to be used in some way, shape, or form. Like, you know, I don't know what the end destination is for any of these pieces of paper. And you know, and I use different types of paper too, because most of this is just regular computer paper that you put in your printer. But I do use cardstock. I do use Bristol paper for if I want something kind of a more firm base. And I also use like deli paper and tracing paper and tissue paper. So and I use a lot of book paper too. I haven't had incredibly good luck thrifting paper, to be honest. I think for the most part, the only thing that I've bought new is computer paper. And even then, I've sometimes been able to thrift computer paper. But I'm always looking when I'm in Goodwill to see if there's some paper that I can get. And like books are also, as I said, great paper too. And they're often really cheap, especially when you're thrifting them. And a lot of times I will buy books that, I would never read. I might not want other people to read. And just turn them into artwork and just kind of transmute. I mean, I like have incredibly good luck just thrifting art supplies in general, because so much of the stuff that you're finding here, like this stamps and not so much stencils, but like definitely stamps. I have a gigantic collection of stamps that I have thrifted over the past 2 years. I should probably actually go through and see if I can't pare down my collection of stamps, because I have so many stamps that it would be impossible to use them all. Oh, a piece of plastic I accidentally stenciled over, but it's kind of cool because you can just like hold it over things and see what they would look like if that thing looked there. So it was kind of actually useful to do that. Some cool tissue paper type stuff. I think that was tracing paper. This one looks to be a palette pole that I had put a stencil in. Oh, that one is definitely a collage. Some lace that I picked up at a thrift store. A stamp that I picked up at a thrift store. Okay. Yeah. I'm very, very lucky to live in an area where there is a DIY thrift store that specializes just in DIY. So that would be DIY Craft and Thrift in Concord, New Hampshire. If you happen to be in that area, you should check them out. They are downtown on North Main Street where the CVS used to be. So all of this flipping through all of these pages is actually something that I do quite a lot when I'm not recording, because this is kind of how I keep in conversation with my artwork. Is I am constantly just flipping through all of these kind of loose leaf pages of different things that I have made, trying to find things to repurpose in other places. So that's a pretty cool flower. I made that by making little brushes out of toilet paper tubes. I should probably do a tutorial video on that at some point. Let me know if you are interested in that in the comments, and I will see if I can't prioritize it. I should also probably write that down because I won't remember that I said that. One of the things that inevitably happens when you have made print after print after print after print is that you amass a gigantic collection of jelly prints. And it is so hard to keep everything organized. I have close to finished pieces mixed in with pages that are probably collage fodder. And really the only way that I know of, at least, to kind of keep some handle on it is just to constantly be flipping through all of my pages and see if I can't inspire myself to do something with these pages. And I'm not trying to stop myself from creating more, but I'm definitely going through a phase of trying to redirect myself towards using the things that I have already made. But inevitably, I end up, making more. Like, it's just the cycle of creativity, I suppose. And although there's this part of me that feels so much resistance, actually, around the fact that it's so hard to keep organized with this type of artwork. But I think it's that disorganization and the constantly having to go through things it's just a part of the process. And I'm still learning to like not resist that part of the process. Because even as I'm sitting here doing my voiceover and looking at all of these pages, like I'm coming up with ideas of how to use them. And it gives me ideas of like other things that I want to try. Because like sometimes I will find that I used a particular tool a lot with one particular color palette, but as I'm, flipping through my pages, sometimes I'm inspired by the fact that, oh, well, I didn't use that particular thing with this other color palette that seems to be really dominant, in my collection. Maybe I can try that next time that I'm sitting down and, making prints. So I flip through my pages a lot. And I try to, these days I'm kind of leaning towards, putting things in kind of a rainbow order type. So, organizing like things with like things so I can find them easier maybe later. That's not always the case. Also, too, I travel a lot in the summer. I'm actually traveling right now as I make this voiceover. So the location I am making the voiceover in is not the location I filmed this in at all. There was actually like a 2-week delay between those two things happening. But yeah. And I find when I travel, a lot of the times I can't bring my full setup with me. So a lot of the times I think it's helpful for me to sit down and actually look at video of some of the stuff I've done, because it kind of like helps me to remember what I have in the location where I'm not at the moment, if that makes any sense. And as much as I wish I could just be in one location right now, it's just not the reality of the rest of my life right now. And that's probably not going to change, at least for this summer. But I just try my best to adjust my art practice to whatever my circumstances are at the particular moment. And like, definitely right now, I have a little bit less time to be working on things. But I've still been working on stuff. I haven't filmed most of the stuff I've worked on. But, I don't have to film everything, like really, I view my YouTube channel, my Insta, my TikTok, whatever, as being kind of a little window into my art practice rather than an all-encompassing documentation of it, because I think that's kind of an exhausting way to approach it. In the end, what I hope that you take away from watching me flip through all of these different gel prints that I have made is that perfection is not mandatory. Some of these are grungy and weird. But you just keep going and see where it takes you. And if you could be so kind to smash the like button and leave a comment, that is always appreciated. And if you would like to support this channel monetarily, I do have a Ko-Fi. I'm not monetized on YouTube yet. Hopefully that will be something that happens down the line, but we're not quite there yet. But it's always appreciated. Oh yeah, and subscribe. Did I not say subscribe? I don't think I said subscribe. And if you stuck it out with me until the end here, congratulations. You've watched an entire video of me flipping through papers. I hope it inspired you to put your phone down and go get creating yourself. So I hope you have a wonderful day and stay creative, friends. The world needs it, you know?